There is a law in the architecture of the subconscious mind that the majority of spiritual practitioners have never been told exists. A law so consequential that its absence from most metaphysical teaching constitutes the single largest explanation for why sincere students carry damage they cannot seem to repair, patterns they cannot seem to correct, and conditions installed by the actions of others that persist with a stability no amount of forward-directed spiritual work has been able to dissolve. Joseph Murphy documented this law with the precision that characterized his entire life's work: the law of reversal. What was imprinted upon your subconscious by the actions, words, and conditions of another, regardless of when it was installed, regardless of how long it has been operative, regardless of how deeply it has structured the architecture of your experience, can be removed from the deep mind with the same mechanical precision with which it was installed. Not healed, not managed, not compensated for by new positive programming layered over the old damage. Removed, reversed, undone. Consider for a moment what you have already done. You have read the books that matter. You have applied the principles with discipline that most people would find extraordinary. You have visualized the outcomes, spoken the affirmations, restructured the beliefs you could identify and reach, and built, through genuine and sustained effort, a new mental architecture over what was there before. And in many areas of your life, that work has produced results. Measurable, real, undeniable results. You know the law works. That is precisely what makes what you're about to hear so important. Because the question you are sitting with is not whether the law works. The question is why, in specific areas, the ones that matter most. The results of your forward-directed practice seem to exist above a floor that does not move, no matter how thoroughly you have rebuilt everything above it. The pain you carry is not the pain of someone who has not tried. It is something more precise and, in some ways, more difficult to bear. The particular exhaustion of someone who has done everything the law prescribes and still finds that certain conditions in their experience operate from a depth that the forward-directed work cannot reach. Your relationship with your own worth, your baseline relationship with abundance, your capacity to sustain intimacy without it eventually reorganizing into something familiar and diminished. Your fundamental sense of safety in the world. In each of these areas, if you look honestly, there is a pattern that has reconstituted itself across different circumstances, different relationships, and different phases of your life, with the consistency not of something that keeps happening to you, but of something that is being continuously executed by a mechanism you have not yet been able to address directly. Murphy identifies this precisely. The techniques you have been applying operate at the level of new installation. They build above the existing structure. They produce real improvement in the space above the damage. But the damage itself, the blueprint that was installed before you, had any understanding of what was being placed inside you by someone whose authority over your environment gave them access to your subconscious that you had no capacity to prevent. That blueprint is not a memory sitting beneath your new programming. It is an operative instruction being continuously executed at a level your forward-directed work has not yet reached. Murphy reveals the law. To correct it, you do not need to build more on top of it. You need to reach beneath it and reverse it at the level where it was originally placed. The law of reversal is that reach, and what you're about to receive is the precise mechanical instruction for how to use it. In this video, we will establish Murphy's complete teaching on the law of reversal, the precise mechanism by which subconscious imprints installed by the actions and conditions of others can be identified, reached, and reversed at their point of installation. And we will construct the operative protocol that allows the practitioner to apply this law to any persistent pattern in their experience that originated outside their own deliberate programming. We will begin with the foundational architecture of Murphy's teaching on the subconscious as a recording system, not as metaphor, but as the operative description of a mechanism whose behavior is lawful, predictable, and critically reversible. We will move through the precise steps of the reversal protocol itself, through the specific conditions that must be present for the operation to succeed, and through the neurological evidence that confirms the mechanism Murphy described decades before the science caught up with it. We will move, in short, from the frustration of working around damage to the precision of reversing it. There is one thing you need to know before we proceed. Murphy identified a specific condition that must be present before the law of reversal can operate. A condition that most practitioners have been inadvertently blocking through the very act of spiritual work they believed was preparing them for this operation. It is not a failure of technique. It is not a failure of consistency. It is a structural error in the practitioner's relationship to the damage itself. An error so counterintuitive that its identification, when you encounter it in Part 4, will explain not only why the reversal has not yet occurred, but why every sincere attempt to correct the pattern may have been reinforcing the block rather than dissolving it. We will identify it precisely. We will remove it from your practice with the same mechanical authority the law of reversal applies to everything else. If the law of reversal is now yours, if you have already recognized in these opening words the explanation for the gap that has persisted in your experience despite everything you have built, then make that recognition operative. There is one action available to you right now that is not symbolic. It is the first decree of this operation. Write the words, "It is being undone," in the comments below, not as a reaction, not as an expression of hope, as the formal declaration that the reversal operation has begun, as the first command issued from the reversal posture. Before the instruction is even fully received, the subconscious responds to declaration. The law is already present. Claim it. Begin now. To understand the law of reversal with the precision Murphy intended, you must first understand exactly what the subconscious mind is doing when it receives an imprint. Murphy taught, and this distinction is foundational to everything that follows, that the subconscious does not store experiences in the way that ordinary memory stores them. Ordinary memory stores a record of an event, what happened, in what sequence, with what emotional tone. The subconscious does something categorically different. When an experience is delivered to it with sufficient emotional charge, the subconscious extracts from that experience an operative instruction, a generalized rule about the nature of reality, the self, or the relationship between the two, and installs that instruction as a governing blueprint. From that point forward, the subconscious does not remember the event. It executes the instruction derived from it. This distinction matters enormously for anyone who has spent years in therapeutic or spiritual processing of their past. If the subconscious stored damage as memory, then reprocessing the memory, revisiting the event with new emotional resources, and arriving at a new understanding of what happened would constitute the complete corrective operation. But this is not the architecture. The event may be reprocessed completely, understood, released, even forgiven in every emotional and psychological sense, while the operative instruction extracted from it and installed as a governing blueprint continues to execute without interruption. The subconscious was not waiting for you to resolve your feelings about the event. It was executing the instruction the event produced. Resolving the feelings does not revoke the instruction. This is why individuals who have done profound and genuine therapeutic work on their past continue to find certain patterns operating in their present. The reprocessing addressed the memory. The blueprint remained at its post. Murphy was precise about the mechanism of installation. An imprint is installed in the subconscious when three conditions converge: the delivery of a message, sufficient emotional charge to carry it past the critical faculty of the conscious mind, and the receptive state of a subconscious that accepts what reaches it as authoritative instruction. In ordinary adult experience, the conscious mind acts as a gatekeeper, evaluating incoming messages against existing beliefs, rejecting those that contradict established patterns, and admitting only those that are sufficiently consistent with what has already been accepted. But in childhood, that gatekeeper is not yet fully formed. In states of extreme emotional intensity, fear, grief, shock, powerlessness, the gatekeeper is overwhelmed. And in states of deep trust or deep dependence on an external authority, the gatekeeper defers to that authority and admits what the authority delivers without the ordinary scrutiny. These are the primary pathways through which another person's words, actions, or conditions of treatment reached your subconscious and were installed as governing instructions you neither chose nor consented to. The authority figure, the parent, the primary caregiver, the teacher, the early intimate partner, did not need to be deliberate in their installation of the damaging blueprint. A father's offhand remark about the family's relationship to money, delivered with sufficient emotional conviction in a moment when his child was in a state of open receptivity, installs an operative instruction about abundance with the same mechanical thoroughness as a deliberate campaign of negative programming. The subconscious does not evaluate the intentions of the source. It evaluates only the emotional charge of the delivery and the receptivity of the state. If both conditions are met, the instruction is installed. The source's regret, ignorance, or subsequent reversal of position does not revoke the installation. The damage was not an act of will. It was a mechanical event. And because it was mechanical, it is governed by a law, and that law operates in both directions. This is the critical implication Murphy drew from this architecture, and it is the one that changes everything for the practitioner who has been struggling with the gap between their knowledge and their results. The subconscious does not privilege the original installation over subsequent ones. It is not loyal to the first blueprint placed in a given domain, the one placed by someone else in conditions you did not control at a time when you had no capacity to prevent it. The subconscious executes whatever governing instruction has been most recently and most authoritatively installed. The original installation had authority because it arrived with emotional charge through an open gateway in a state of receptivity. Those are not unique privileges of the original installer. They are conditions that the practitioner can recreate deliberately, precisely, with full conscious authority, and use to deliver the reversing instruction with the same or greater authority than the original damage carried. The law that installed the blueprint is the same law that reverses it. The word Murphy used consistently in this context was reversibility. The subconscious recording system is inherently, completely, and unconditionally reversible. There is no installation so old that the law cannot reach it. There is no blueprint so structurally embedded that the reversal operation cannot dissolve and replace it. There is no damage installed by another person's authority that cannot be revoked by the sovereign authority of the individual who owns the system. Murphy described the subconscious as entirely without allegiance to any particular content. It is a faithful executor of instruction, and its faithfulness is content neutral. It will execute the blueprint for limitation with exactly the same thoroughness and dedication with which it will execute the blueprint for abundance once the reversal has been performed. The deep mind has no preference. It has only a mechanism, and the mechanism runs in both directions. Consider what this means for the specific areas of your experience where the persistent pattern has operated. That pattern is not evidence of a fundamental truth about who you are. It is evidence of a blueprint that has been continuously executed by a system that knows only how to execute faithfully whatever instruction it most authoritatively holds. The execution has been perfect. The subconscious has done precisely what it was instructed to do, with a consistency that, viewed from the right angle, is actually a demonstration of extraordinary capability. The capability that, once the reversal is performed, will execute the new instruction with exactly the same faithfulness. The deep mind that has been producing limitation with mechanical precision is the same deep mind that will produce abundance with mechanical precision once the instruction is reversed. The instrument has not been working against you. It has been working for the blueprint. Reverse the blueprint, the instrument follows. Murphy also documented something that practitioners frequently misunderstand about the timeline of a blueprint's influence. There is a common assumption that damage installed long ago has somehow calcified, that the years of execution have given the original blueprint a kind of seniority that makes it more resistant to reversal than a recently installed one. This assumption is incorrect. The subconscious does not operate on seniority. The blueprint installed 40 years ago is not more firmly rooted than the one installed last year. It has simply been executed more frequently, which means it has produced more corresponding conditions in the environment, which means those conditions have provided more apparent evidence to the conscious mind that the blueprint represents reality rather than instruction. The blueprint has not deepened. The evidence for it has accumulated, and evidence can be contradicted. The reversal does not need to overcome 40 years of structural entrenchment. It needs only to deliver the counter-instruction with sufficient authority to be received as the new governing rule. The depth of the original installation is irrelevant to the authority of the reversal. This is the point at which Murphy's teaching on the subconscious as a recording system becomes something more than reassuring philosophy and reveals itself as operative precision. The damage was installed through a mechanism. You have now understood that mechanism with enough clarity to see that it is symmetrical, that the same pathway the damage used to enter is the pathway through which the reversal travels. The practitioner who understands this is no longer in the position of someone trying to overcome damage. They are in the position of an operator who has located an erroneous instruction in a system they govern completely and is preparing to correct it with the authority that governance provides. That shift in position from victim of the blueprint to operator of the system is not merely philosophical. It is the precondition for the reversal operation itself, and it is the beginning of what Murphy meant when he described the subconscious mind as an instrument of infinite capability in the hands of one who understands the law of its operation. The subconscious is your instrument. It was your instrument the day the damage was installed. In the conditions of that moment, childhood, overwhelm, dependence, shock, you did not yet know how to govern it, and the instructions delivered to it by the conditions of your environment were received as authoritative simply because you had no other framework within which to evaluate them. That was not a failure. It was the condition of not yet knowing. The law does not punish ignorance retroactively. It simply continues executing the most recently authorized instruction until a new authorization is issued. You are issuing it now. The instrument is ready. The mechanism awaits the command. The law of reversal is the command. What distinguishes the law of reversal from every other technique in Murphy's system is precisely this. It is the only operation directed at the existing structure rather than the space above it. Every other technique Murphy taught, affirmation, prayer treatment, visualization, sleep programming, the spoken word, is a forward-directed installation. It adds new programming to the subconscious territory above the existing damage. It can and does produce real results in that space, but it cannot reach the blueprint installed below the floor of the practitioner's new construction because it is not designed to reach there. It is designed to install something new. The law of reversal is designed to dissolve something old. These are categorically different operations, and Murphy was explicit in his insistence that the practitioner who has been applying only forward-directed techniques in the presence of deep, backward-installed damage has not been using the wrong system. They have been using an incomplete one. Murphy taught that the completeness of the practitioner's understanding was the completeness of their results. A practitioner who knows only forward-directed installation will produce forward-directed results. Growth above the floor of the existing damage, improvement in the space above the undisturbed blueprint, advancement that repeatedly approaches the ceiling imposed by the old instruction and finds that ceiling holding with a consistency that eventually produces either confusion or resignation. The law of reversal removes the ceiling, not by pushing harder against it from below, which is what more affirmation, more visualization, more forward-directed effort produces, but by dissolving it from the level at which it was constructed. When the ceiling is removed, the forward-directed work does not suddenly encounter resistance at the point where it always encountered resistance before. It continues. The results are not merely improved. They are structurally different because the structure that was limiting them has been reversed at its root. This is the completion of the practitioner's toolkit that Murphy spent decades working toward articulating with sufficient precision to be actually operative. The forward-directed operations are real and necessary. The practitioner who abandons them in favor of reversal alone has misunderstood the relationship between the two operations. The reversal removes the old blueprint. The forward-directed installation installs the new one in the cleared territory. Both operations are necessary. Both operations use the same mechanism: the delivery of an instruction with sufficient emotional authority to the receptive deep mind. The difference is only in direction. One installs forward, one reverses what was installed before. Together, they constitute the complete operation. The deep mind that has been executing the blueprint for limitation will execute the blueprint for the life the practitioner has been working toward. With complete faithfulness, mathematical certainty, and the same mechanical precision it has brought to everything it has ever been given to execute. To make the law of reversal completely clear as a mechanism, consider the technology of magnetic recording, not as a distant analogy, but as the precise structural parallel that Murphy himself used in his teaching to distinguish the reversal operation from every other subconscious technique. In magnetic recording, a signal is encoded onto a medium by the application of a magnetic field of sufficient strength. The field impresses its pattern into the molecular structure of the medium. From that point forward, the medium does not simply retain a copy of the signal. It becomes the signal, playing it back whenever it is accessed, faithfully reproducing the pattern encoded into it regardless of the original source of that pattern, regardless of the conditions under which the encoding occurred, regardless of how much time has passed since the recording was made. The medium has no interest in the content of the signal. It simply holds what was impressed upon it and returns it on demand. The subconscious mind operates as this recording medium with a fidelity that makes the magnetic analogy almost understated. The imprint was delivered with sufficient emotional charge, the equivalent of a magnetic field of sufficient strength. It was received into the deep mind in a state of sufficient receptivity. It was installed as a pattern. And from that installation forward, the subconscious has been doing precisely what the magnetic medium does, faithfully reproducing the encoded pattern, returning it on demand, organizing the biological, behavioral, and circumstantial environment of the individual to produce conditions that correspond to the recorded blueprint. It has been doing this not because of any preference for the blueprint's content, not out of any loyalty to the one who caused the original encoding, but because this is what the medium does. It plays back what is recorded in it. The law of its operation is without exception. Now consider what the magnetic recording engineer does when they encounter a recorded medium that carries an erroneous or unwanted signal. A signal that was encoded in error, or that was encoded by an external source without the engineer's consent. And that has been playing back ever since with a fidelity that makes it impossible to use the medium for any other purpose. The engineer does not attempt to simply record a new signal over the existing one without first addressing the existing one. A practitioner without proper understanding of the technology might attempt this, might record the desired signal directly over the existing damage, hoping that the new recording will simply displace the old one through sheer presence. What results is not a clean recording of the new signal. What results is a composite, a confused mixture of the old signal and the new one, in which the dominant pattern depends on the relative strength of each recording, and in which the original damage remains audible beneath the new content. This is precisely what forward-directed affirmation produces in the presence of a deep, undisturbed blueprint. The new programming is real. The improvement above the damage is real. But the damage plays through. The professional recording engineer uses a different operation. The application of a demagnetizing field, a counterforce specifically designed not to record a new signal, but to neutralize the existing one, dissolving the molecular pattern that carries the old recording and restoring the medium to a neutral state. Blank, receptive, and ready to receive a clean installation of whatever the engineer now chooses to record. The demagnetizing operation is not therapeutic. It does not address the content of the old recording by understanding it more deeply or processing its emotional implications. It addresses the structure of the old recording by neutralizing it at the level where it is encoded. Once the medium is clear, the new recording installs cleanly, plays back cleanly, and the old pattern is simply no longer present, not suppressed beneath the new recording, not audible at the edges, but genuinely absent from the medium that once carried it with such persistent fidelity. Murphy's law of reversal is this demagnetizing operation applied to the subconscious mind. It is not a technique for recording better content over the existing damage. It is the specific operation that neutralizes the existing blueprint at its point of installation, restores the territory of the deep mind to a receptive state, and then installs the new governing instruction into clear territory where it will play back without interference, without the composite distortion of the old pattern audible beneath it, and without the ceiling that the undisturbed original blueprint would otherwise impose on every forward-directed installation built above it. This is why Murphy distinguished the law of reversal from his other teachings with such care. It is not a more powerful version of affirmation or prayer treatment. It is a categorically different operation, the preparatory operation that makes all other operations fully effective in the specific territory it has cleared. The word that Murphy returned to again and again in his descriptions of this law was completeness. The forward-directed practice is complete in what it does. It installs new programming with genuine authority in the territory it addresses. But it is not complete in what it addresses. It does not address the existing structure of undisturbed damage below the territory it is building on. The law of reversal completes the system. It addresses the existing structure directly at its own level. With the specific operation, the demagnetizing, neutralizing, reversing operation that the existing structure requires. A practitioner in possession of both operations, forward-directed installation for building the new, reversal for dissolving the old, has the complete toolkit of the subconscious mind and is no longer working around any damage that was placed there by conditions beyond their control. They are working with the complete system, in full knowledge of its architecture, with access to every corridor of the deep mind and the operative authority to correct any instruction they find there that does not represent their chosen blueprint for their experience. There is a mathematical quality to the symmetry Murphy identified here that, once understood, produces a shift in the practitioner's relationship to their own history that is itself part of the reversal operation. If the law that was used to damage you is the same law that you will use to reverse the damage, if the mechanism of your wounding is the identical mechanism of your healing operating in reverse direction, then the damage was never permanent. By definition, a law that operates in both directions cannot produce a permanent result in one direction. Every imprint delivered to your subconscious by an external authority was delivered through a mechanism that is, by its fundamental nature, reversible. There is no exception. There is no category of damage so severe, so early, so repeatedly reinforced, or so structurally integrated into the practitioner's experience that the reversal law cannot reach it. The law is not selective. It is not more powerful in some territories of the deep mind than others. It is the governing principle of the entire recording system. And as the governing principle of the system, its authority extends to every instruction within the system without exception. Consider the specific implications of this for the patterns you have been carrying longest. The blueprint that has been operating since childhood, that has structured your relationship with worth, abundance, safety, or love for decades, that has persisted through every phase of your development and every tool you have applied to its correction. That blueprint does not have special status in the subconscious mind. It has tenure. It has accumulated evidence. It has organized your experience around its specifications in ways that seem, from inside that experience, like the natural shape of reality, rather than the output of a specific instruction. But it does not have special status. The subconscious does not honor longevity. It does not treat the long-installed blueprint as more authoritative than the recently issued reversal command. It treats the most recently delivered, most authoritatively issued instruction as the governing one. Issue the reversal with authority. The tenure of the old blueprint is irrelevant. The law governs the medium. The medium obeys the law. The logical consequence of this symmetry, and Murphy drew it explicitly, is that no human being, regardless of what was done to them in conditions they could not control, is permanently defined by those conditions. The record of what was done to you is in the deep mind, but the deep mind is a reversible recording medium governed by a law that you are now in a position to operate. The record has been playing back as your experience, but you are the operator of the system that holds the record, and the operator, in possession of the correct technique, can erase the record and install a new one in its place. This is not a statement of encouragement, it is a statement of law. Encouragement is contingent. It depends on circumstances going favorably, on effort producing the hoped-for result, on the situation cooperating with the wish. The law of reversal is not contingent. It is the description of how a system operates. The system operates this way regardless of the age of the damage, the status of the person who installed it, the length of time it has been executing, or the complexity of the conditions it has produced. The law is indifferent to all of those factors. It applies to the mechanism. The mechanism is present. The operation is available. The result is mathematically certain. Murphy was also precise about what the law of reversal does not require, and this precision is itself a form of liberation for the practitioner who has assumed that the prerequisites are more demanding than they are. The reversal does not require that you understand the full psychological history of the installed blueprint. It does not require that you have compassion for the person who installed it, though we will address the critical condition about grievance in Part 4. It does not require that you have processed every emotional layer of the original wound. It does not require that you have forgiven in the therapeutic sense, that you have achieved acceptance in the spiritual sense, or that you have resolved your relationship with what was done to you in any subjective sense whatsoever. It requires only that you identify the operative blueprint precisely, that you understand the mechanism of reversal clearly, and that you issue the reversal command with the authority that the law requires. The subjective interior work that therapy and certain spiritual practices prioritize is real and has its own value, but it is not a prerequisite of the law of reversal. The law operates on the mechanism, not on the emotional state of the practitioner. The reason this matters practically is that many practitioners have been waiting, sometimes for years, sometimes for decades, to feel ready for the reversal. They have assumed that the reversal is only available to the practitioner who has achieved a certain level of emotional resolution, spiritual development, or psychological completeness. This assumption has cost them time. The law of reversal is available the moment the practitioner understands it, not when they feel fully ready, not when the interior landscape feels clear enough to support it, not when the relationship with the damage and the one who installed it has been sufficiently processed. Now, the mechanism operates on the instruction in the deep mind, not on the emotional weather of the practitioner's inner experience. The practitioner can be grieving and perform the reversal. They can be angry and perform the reversal. They can feel uncertain and perform the reversal. The emotional state of the practitioner is the concern of the practitioner. The mechanism of the subconscious is the operative level. The reversal command, delivered with the authority the law requires, reaches the mechanism directly, regardless of the emotional conditions in the space above it. This is the cold precision of Murphy's teaching at its most useful. The law does not ask how you feel about what was done to you. It asks only whether you are prepared to exercise your authority as the owner of the system to reverse the instruction that was installed in it. That authority does not depend on how you feel. It depends on what you know and how you apply what you know. You are being given the knowledge now. The application will be given to you in Part 3. And when the reversal is performed, not hoped for, not attempted with fingers crossed, not issued as a request to a universe that may or may not comply, but executed as the mechanical command of a system operator who understands the law and is applying it with precision. The result is not uncertain. The result is what the law always produces when the law is applied correctly. Mathematical certainty, immediate execution. The deep mind obeys the command it receives. Issue the command. The law takes it from there. Before the law of reversal can be applied with the authority the subconscious requires, before the first word of the reversal operation is spoken or written, there is a preparation that must be completed. Murphy called it the reversal posture, and he was emphatic that its establishment was not preliminary in the sense of something that precedes the real work. It is the first operative step, inseparable from the reversal itself, and its absence from the practitioner's approach is frequently the single factor that determines whether the reversal operation reaches the deep mind with the authority it requires or dissipates at the level of conscious intention without penetrating to the level of the blueprint. The reversal posture is not an emotional state. It is not a mood you access or a feeling you cultivate before beginning. It is a specific internal orientation, a precise way of positioning yourself in relation to your own subconscious mind that is categorically different from any other orientation you bring to spiritual practice. To understand what the reversal posture is, it is useful to first understand what it is not. And Murphy was explicit in distinguishing it from the two orientations that most practitioners habitually default to when they approach the deep mind with the intention of addressing installed damage. The first is the forward orientation, the orientation of someone building something new, reaching ahead into the desired future, speaking the new reality into being through affirmation and visualization, constructing the mental equivalent of the life they intend to inhabit. This is the dominant orientation of forward-directed practice, constructive, future-directed, additive. It is a genuine and powerful orientation for the work it is designed to do. But it is directed ahead, and the existing damage is behind it, below the floor of the new construction, unaddressed by the forward-reaching posture. You cannot dissolve a blueprint that is behind you by reaching forward. The forward orientation is architecturally incapable of performing the reversal. The second orientation Murphy distinguished is the backward orientation, the orientation of someone excavating the past, reprocessing the emotional content of the original wound, exploring the psychological landscape of what was done to them, and by whom and under what circumstances. This is the dominant orientation of therapeutic processing. It reaches backward into the history of the damage with the intention of resolving it at the level of emotional experience and psychological understanding. This orientation has genuine value in its own domain, but it is also architecturally incapable of performing the reversal, for a reason that Murphy identified with great precision. The backward orientation re-engages the practitioner with the emotional content of the original installation at the very moment when they need to be exercising mechanical authority over the blueprint that installation produced. Emotional re-engagement with the damage is not the reversal of the damage. It is a renewed encounter with it, which, if it proceeds with sufficient emotional charge, can actually reinforce the original installation rather than dissolving it. The reversal posture is neither of these. It is the present tense orientation of the system operator, someone who has identified an erroneous instruction in a system they govern completely and is preparing to correct it with the calm authority of someone who understands the mechanism and knows exactly what they are doing. The system operator does not reach forward into the future while performing this operation. They are not building the new while the old remains in place. The system operator does not reach backward into the past while performing this operation. They are not reprocessing the event that produced the erroneous instruction. They are in the present in the system, with the blueprint they have identified, exercising the authority of ownership over the deep mind that is their sovereign right as the inhabitant and operator of that system. This is the posture: present, sovereign, technical, without drama. Murphy returned to this word throughout his teaching on the reversal: authority. The reversal operation is an act of authority. It is the exercise of the sovereign authority of the individual over their own subconscious mind, the authority that belongs to every human being by the nature of their relationship to their own deep mind, but that most practitioners have not yet claimed in the full sense the reversal operation requires. The subconscious, as Murphy described it, is an instrument that responds to authority. It receives instruction from wherever authority is being exercised over it. In childhood, that authority was held by the external environment, by the caregivers, the circumstances, the emotionally charged messages of the world that surrounded the developing mind before the conscious faculty was capable of governing the gateway. The damage was installed because authority over the system was, at that moment, held by external conditions rather than by the individual themselves. The reversal claims it back. To establish the reversal posture in practice, Murphy offered a specific mental preparation that he recommended completing before issuing any part of the reversal operation itself. Sit with the knowledge that the subconscious mind you're about to address is yours, completely and unconditionally yours, not partially yours and partially the legacy of what was done to it, not yours except for the sections that carry the old damage, yours. Every corridor of it, every blueprint it contains, every instruction it is currently executing, yours. You are not a visitor to this system. You are not a patient in this system. You are not a supplicant requesting a correction from a system that may or may not comply. You are the owner and operator of this system, and you are exercising the authority of ownership to correct an instruction that was installed without your consent in conditions that no longer apply. That is the reversal posture. That is the orientation from which the reversal command will be issued. And from that orientation, the command carries the authority the deep mind requires in order to receive it as the new governing instruction. Murphy also addressed what happens internally when the practitioner attempts to establish the reversal posture and encounters resistance, an interior voice or feeling that disputes the claim of sovereign authority, by pointing to the evidence of the damage, to the years of failed attempts to correct it, to the apparent impossibility of reversing something so old and so structurally embedded. This resistance is not a counter-argument. It is the blueprint defending itself through the mechanism of the conscious mind. The blueprint that has been governing a specific territory of the deep mind for 20, 30, 40 years has organized the practitioner's entire set of beliefs about that territory around its specifications, including the belief that the territory is essentially immovable and that the practitioner's authority over it is limited. When the practitioner claims sovereign authority over the system and prepares to reverse the blueprint's own output includes the argument that the reversal is impossible. Murphy was characteristically direct. This argument is produced by the very instruction you are about to reverse. Do not debate it. Recognize it for what it is, the blueprint's last expression of authority, occurring precisely because the operator is about to withdraw that authority. Acknowledge it without engaging it. Then proceed with the reversal operation from the posture you have established. The reversal posture also has a specific relationship to time that distinguishes it from all other orientations in spiritual practice. Forward-directed practice relates to time by pointing toward the future. It is oriented toward a condition that does not yet exist in the present and is working to bring it into present reality. Backward-directed processing relates to time by pointing toward the past. It is oriented toward a condition that occurred in the past and is working to resolve its ongoing effects. The reversal posture is present tense in a more radical sense than either. It is not pointing toward the future. It is not addressing the past. It is present in the system right now as its governing operator, addressing the current state of a blueprint that is currently executing and exercising the authority to change that current state, not to change the future, not to reprocess the past, to change the current instruction operating in the current deep mind of the currently living practitioner. The reversal happens now, not eventually, not after sufficient preparation or emotional resolution. Now, in the present moment, from the present tense authority of the operator who has identified the blueprint and is correcting it. This present tense quality of the reversal posture is one of the reasons the operation produces the quality of response that Murphy's students consistently described. Not an emotional catharsis, not a sense of release or relief, but something more like the administrative satisfaction of a correction competently made. The practitioner does not feel the reversal as a profound emotional experience in the moment of its performance. They perform it from a place of technical authority and quiet certainty, and the evidence of its operation appears not in the moment of performance, but in the subsequent behavior of the system. The changed outputs, the absence of the old pattern and situations that previously triggered it reliably, the behavioral confirmation that the new blueprint is now the governing instruction. The quality Murphy described most often in practitioners who had correctly applied the reversal was this: not the dramatic relief of someone who has been healed, but the quiet recognition of someone who has corrected an error in a system they now understand well enough to operate with precision. There is one more element of the reversal posture that Murphy identified as essential, and it is the one that most distinguishes it from the postures practitioners have developed through years of forward-directed practice. Forward-directed practice involves desire. The practitioner wants something, reaches toward it, works to bring it into being through the power of the deep mind. Desire is the appropriate fuel for forward-directed installation, but desire introduces a subtle asymmetry into the relationship between the practitioner and the subconscious. The practitioner wants something and is asking, however authoritatively, however affirmatively, for the subconscious to produce it. The operator in the reversal posture does not want anything. The operator is not asking. The operator has identified an erroneous instruction, has exercised their governing authority over the system, and is issuing a correction. There is no request in the reversal posture. There is only the exercise of authority that the law supports completely, and that the deep mind, as a faithful executor of governing instructions, will obey with the same faithfulness it has brought to the execution of every blueprint it has ever held. The desire-free, authority-based, present-tense posture of the operator is the reversal posture. Establish it. Then proceed to the operation itself. Murphy described the establishment of the reversal posture as the difference between a practitioner and a master. The practitioner applies techniques, hoping they work, monitoring the results with a degree of uncertainty that itself constitutes a subtle vote against the new installation. The master understands the mechanism, establishes their authority in the system, issues the command, and returns their attention to their life, not because they are certain the reversal worked, but because they understand that certainty is not the domain of the practitioner's feelings. Certainty is a property of the law. The law operates with mathematical certainty. The operator's feelings about the operation are the operator's concern. The law does not consult them. It executes the most authoritatively installed instruction. Install the reversal from the posture of authority. The law does the rest. This is not faith in the hopeful sense. It is understanding of the mechanism in the precise sense. And understanding of the mechanism applied correctly produces the result that the mechanism always produces. That is what mathematical certainty means. That is what the reversal posture makes possible. The practitioner who establishes the reversal posture for the first time often reports something unexpected, a quieting of the inner landscape that precedes the operation itself. A stillness that is not the stillness of emptiness, but the stillness of settled authority. Murphy described this as the recognition of ownership. When the conscious mind fully accepts its role as the operator of the subconscious, rather than as the passenger inside a system governed by conditions from the past, a specific quality of internal silence occurs. It is not the silence of someone who has given up. It is the silence of someone who has taken command. From that silence, the reversal command is issued. Into that silence, the deep mind receives it. And the law, which has been waiting for this moment of correct application, does precisely what it has always done and always will do. It executes the governing instruction with complete faithfulness, without exception and without delay. Establish the posture. The operation begins. The reversal protocol, as Murphy formulated it, consists of 3 steps executed in precise sequence, each one constituting a complete operative act in its own right and each one necessary to the operation's completeness. Murphy was clear that the 3 steps are not optional components from which the practitioner selects the ones that feel accessible. They are a sequence, the logical unfolding of a single operation across 3 necessary phases. To perform steps 1 and 2 without performing step 3 is to leave the operation incomplete at the level of physical confirmation that the subconscious requires in order to register the reversal as fully operative. To attempt step 2 without having completed step 1 with genuine precision is to issue the replacement installation into an insufficiently identified territory, which produces a generalized installation of uncertain depth rather than the precise targeted reversal the specific blueprint requires. The sequence is the operation. The steps are its phases. Step 1 is the blueprint identification. Before the reversal command can be issued, the practitioner must have identified the specific operative blueprint to be reversed with a precision that matches the precision of the reversal operation itself. Murphy was adamant on this point. A vague identification produces a vague reversal. The subconscious received a specific instruction when the original damage was installed. A specific, operative, present tense rule about the nature of the self or reality that has been executing continuously since its installation. The reversal operation must target that specific instruction, not the story of how it was installed, not the emotional content surrounding it, not the general area of the damage. The operative instruction itself, stated with the specificity with which the subconscious has been executing it, as if the practitioner were reading the instruction directly from the subconscious's own governing document. The form of the identified blueprint is present tense, specific, and stated as an operative rule, the form in which the subconscious executes it. Not the narrative memory of what happened, not the emotional charge that accompanied the original installation, the instruction. Consider the examples Murphy provided in his teaching. I am not safe when I am visible to others. Abundance arrives in my life and is then taken away. Intimacy requires the suppression of who I actually am. Success at the highest level is not available to people like me. I am fundamentally unworthy of sustained good. Each of these is stated as the subconscious has been executing it. Present tense, specific, operative. Each one, once identified in this form, becomes the precise target of the reversal operation. The practitioner who arrives at this identification has done something more significant than they may immediately recognize. They have named the blueprint, and the naming of the blueprint is the first act of authority over it, because it is the first moment in which the practitioner has looked at the governing instruction clearly enough to see that it is an instruction, not a truth about them, not the shape of reality, but an instruction installed in a system they govern, which they are now in a position to reverse. The method Murphy recommended for arriving at the precise identification is deductive rather than exploratory. Begin not with the history of the damage, but with the current pattern of its output. Identify the area of your experience where the persistent pattern has operated, the area where the same condition reconstitutes itself across different circumstances with the consistency of something being executed rather than something happening. Now trace the pattern to its underlying rule. If the pattern is financial limitation that returns regardless of circumstances, the operative instruction is not about money. It is about the self in relation to abundance. Something like, abundance is not available to me at this level, or I am not the kind of person for whom financial security is permanent. If the pattern is the consistent self-sabotage of intimate connection at a certain level of depth, the operative instruction is about safety or worth in relation to being known. To be fully known is to be rejected, or I must remain partially hidden in order to be loved. Follow the pattern to its rule. State the rule in present tense as the subconscious has been executing it. That is the blueprint. That is the target of the reversal. Step 2 is the reversal declaration, the two-part command that Murphy formulated as the operative core of the law of reversal. It is issued in two parts in immediate sequence without pause between them. The first part is the formal withdrawal of the blueprint's authority. The practitioner, speaking from the reversal posture, the present tense authority of the system operator, formally removes the governing status of the identified blueprint. The language Murphy used and that he taught his students to use was this in substance. This instruction no longer governs my subconscious mind. The authority of the conditions that installed it, the person who delivered it, the circumstances that impressed it upon my deep mind, does not extend into my subconscious as it now stands. I withdraw every authorization this blueprint has received from my conscious acceptance of it retroactively through every moment it has been operative effective from this moment forward. This blueprint is discharged. The precise words are less important than the operative quality of the declaration. Its present tense specificity, its authority, and its completeness. The withdrawal must be total. No qualification. No, I am working to withdraw. The authority is withdrawn. Now, the second part of the reversal declaration follows without pause. This is the replacement installation, the new governing instruction issued into the territory that the withdrawn blueprint has just vacated. Murphy was precise about the form this must take. The precise opposite of the reversed blueprint, stated in present tense as established fact, not as aspiration, not as intention, not as something the practitioner is working toward or hoping to install, as the instruction that is now operative, the governing rule that the deep mind is now executing in the territory the withdrawn blueprint once occupied. In the place of the blueprint just reversed, the deep mind now receives and executes as its governing instruction. I am fully present in my own life, and my visibility is a source of safety and strength. Or, the deep mind now executes as its governing rule. Abundance enters my life and builds continuously, and my relationship with prosperity is permanent and expanding. The statement is the installation. It is not a description of the desired future. It is the decree of the present operating condition of the subconscious mind, issued with the authority of the operator who governs the system and whose governing declarations the system receives and executes. The two declarations, the withdrawal and the replacement installation, constitute a single operative act performed in immediate sequence. Murphy's insistence on the absence of a pause between them was not ceremonial. It was mechanical. The withdrawal creates a receptive vacancy in the subconscious territory it addresses, a state of openness to new instruction in the specific domain of the reversed blueprint. The replacement installation must be delivered into that vacancy immediately, before the conscious mind's habitual interpretation of the domain attempts to reassert itself. The sequence is neutralize, install. The neutralization creates the receptivity. The installation fills it. Together, they are the complete reversal operation at the level of the spoken command. But the operation is not yet finished. There is a third step, and Murphy regarded it as the one that most practitioners were inclined to overlook, and that its oversight most consistently caused them to question, retroactively, whether the reversal had taken place. Step 3 is the behavioral confirmation, the physical action that completes the reversal operation at the level of the practitioner's life in the world. Murphy taught this step with a consistency that indicates how seriously he regarded it, and his reasoning for it goes to the heart of how the subconscious registers the authority of a new installation. The reversal declaration has been issued. The new blueprint has been installed in the deep mind. The practitioner returns to their life. And the question the deep mind is now processing, not consciously, not as a verbal question, but as the operative evaluation of whether the new instruction carries sufficient authority to function as the governing rule of behavior, is this: does the operator whose declaration established the new blueprint act as if it is operative? The behavioral confirmation is the practitioner's answer. The specific action required as behavioral confirmation is not arbitrary. Murphy was explicit. It must be the precise behavior that the old blueprint made consistently impossible or consistently self-sabotaged. Not a symbolic gesture, not a related but safer approximation. The specific behavior. If the reversed blueprint was, "I am not safe when I am visible," the behavioral confirmation is a specific act of intentional visibility. Speaking the thing you have been suppressing, occupying the space you have been avoiding, being present in the way the old blueprint made dangerous. If the reversed blueprint was abundance arrives and is taken, the behavioral confirmation might be a specific financial commitment consistent with the permanence of abundance, not reckless, but deliberate and aligned with the logic of the new blueprint rather than the caution of the old one. The action taken must be one that only makes sense if the reversed blueprint is no longer operative, because the subconscious reads behavior as evidence. When the practitioner takes the action that the old blueprint made impossible, they are providing the subconscious with behavioral evidence that the new governing instruction is in effect, and the subconscious, which has always been a faithful executor of the most authoritatively established instruction, registers that evidence and reinforces the new blueprint accordingly. Murphy also addressed the timing of the behavioral confirmation with great precision. He specified that it should be taken on the same day as the reversal declaration, not because the subconscious operates on calendar time, but because the practitioner's relationship to time is relevant here. The longer the interval between the reversal declaration and the behavioral confirmation, the more opportunity the old blueprint's existing network of behavioral habits, environmental cues, and defensive thoughts has to reassert itself and introduce doubt about the reversal's completion. Performing the behavioral confirmation on the same day compresses the interval in which the old blueprint can mount its defense. The practitioner who performs the reversal declaration in the morning and takes the behavioral confirmation action before the day ends is applying the protocol with the timing Murphy recommended, not as a ritual constraint, as a mechanical decision about when to close the gap between the reversal command and its confirmation in the practitioner's behavior. The quality of the behavioral confirmation action is also significant in a way that Murphy addressed. He distinguished between actions taken from the reversal posture, the present tense authority of the operator executing the new governing instruction, and actions taken from the position of someone testing whether the reversal worked. These are different internal orientations producing the same external behavior, and the subconscious registers the difference. The practitioner who takes the behavioral confirmation action as a test is still relating to the reversal's authority as uncertain, still occupying the position of someone who wants to believe the reversal was effective, but is withholding full acceptance pending evidence. This uncertainty is itself a partial vote for the old blueprint, and it diminishes the authority of the behavioral confirmation at precisely the moment that authority is most needed. The practitioner who takes the behavioral confirmation action as the execution of the new blueprint, not as a test of whether the reversal worked, but as the natural behavior of someone whose subconscious is now governing from the new instruction, provides the subconscious with the full authority of behavioral confirmation rather than the diluted signal of a provisional test. Murphy closed his teaching on the three-step protocol with an observation that unifies all three steps into the single understanding they collectively represent. The identification names the blueprint as an instruction rather than a truth. The reversal declaration withdraws the instruction's authority and replaces it with a new governing command issued by the operator of the system. The behavioral confirmation demonstrates in the physical world that the new command is operative, completing the circuit between the internal reversal and its external expression. Together, the three steps constitute the complete exercise of sovereign authority over the subconscious mind in the specific territory addressed by the reversal. Not the attempt to change the subconscious, not the hope that the subconscious will change. The authoritative, mechanically precise, three-phase operation that governs the reversible recording medium of the deep mind according to the law that has always governed it, applied now by the practitioner who understands the law with the certainty of a result that the law guarantees and the mechanism delivers. 3 steps, 1 operation, the complete reversal. There is a condition Murphy described in his teaching on the law of reversal that must be addressed before the reversal protocol can operate with the authority it requires. A condition so counterintuitive in the context of spiritual practice that its identification produces, in most practitioners who encounter it, the specific recognition of something that has been operating in their work for years without their awareness, blocking the very operation they believed their sincere effort was preparing them to perform. Murphy did not frame this condition as a moral failing. He framed it as a mechanical error, a structural inconsistency in the practitioner's relationship to the operation itself that produces, with the same mechanical precision as every other law he documented, the specific result of the reversal's failure to reach the depth at which the blueprint is installed. Understanding this condition is not an invitation to self-criticism. It is the diagnostic identification that makes the correction possible. The most consistent blocker of the law of reversal, the one Murphy returned to more frequently and with more emphasis than any other, is the retained grievance. This is the specific condition that the practitioner has been promised in much spiritual teaching to address through forgiveness, and that has nonetheless persisted in many practitioners, not because they have failed to forgive in the emotional sense, but because the connection between the retained grievance and the specific mechanical failure it produces in the reversal operation has never been made explicit to them. Murphy made it explicit. The reversal operation requires the practitioner to exercise sovereign authority over their own subconscious, to approach the deep mind as its complete and unconditional owner and operator, with the full authority of someone who governs the system without exception. The retained grievance against the one who installed the original damage is the precise condition that undermines that authority at the moment the operation most requires it. Here is the mechanism of the contradiction. To exercise sovereign authority over your subconscious, to approach it as the operator who governs the system completely, requires that you accept fully and without qualification that the current state of your subconscious is your responsibility, not your fault in the moral sense. Nothing about the law of reversal assigns moral culpability for what was installed in conditions you could not control. But your responsibility in the operational sense, the current state of the system is the current state of your system, and you are its governing operator. and the correction of any erroneous instruction within it is your operation to perform. The retained grievance against the installer contradicts this acceptance precisely. As long as a portion of your consciousness assigns causal authority for the current state of your subconscious to another person, as long as you are partially occupying the position of someone who was wronged and whose subconscious is the way it is because of what that person did, you are simultaneously claiming sovereign authority over your system and assigning authority over your system's current state to an external agent. Murphy was unambiguous. You cannot occupy both positions at once. The authority is total or it is not authority, and the reversal operation requires total authority to deliver the reversal command with the depth and power the deep mind requires. This is why, and this is the specific counterintuitive precision that Murphy brought to this teaching. Practitioners who have been doing substantial spiritual work on forgiveness, compassion, and emotional release in relation to those who harmed them have sometimes found that this work, performed as a spiritual practice directed at the other person, has paradoxically reinforced the block rather than removing it. The forgiveness practice directed at the other person keeps the other person as the primary object of the practitioner's inner attention in relation to the damage. The practitioner is forgiving the other person, which is a generous and internally beneficial act in many respects. But the practitioner's attention remains organized around the other person's role in the damage, which is precisely the orientation that locates causal authority for the damage in an external agent. Murphy's instruction was categorically different. Release the grievance, not for the other person's sake, not as an act of compassion directed at them, not as a spiritual accomplishment in the domain of your relationship with them, but as the internal act of reclaiming the total authority over your own system that the reversal operation requires. The release is not about them. It has never been about them. It is about you reclaiming the operating authority over your own deep mind that the retained grievance has been partially surrendering to the memory of their influence over it. When the grievance is understood and released in this operational sense, not as forgiveness of the other person, but as the reclamation of your own sovereign authority over your own system, something specific happens in the practitioner's internal landscape that Murphy described consistently across his case studies. The damage in the subconscious does not suddenly feel lighter or more resolved in the emotional sense. The emotional work may or may not have been done separately, and that work is valuable in its own domain. What changes in the operational sense is the practitioner's relationship to the blueprint itself. It is no longer the legacy of someone else's authority over them. It is an erroneous instruction in their own system, currently under their authority, awaiting correction. That shift from damage done to me by another to erroneous instruction in my system awaiting my correction is the shift that makes the reversal posture fully available. And the reversal posture, as you have already understood, is the prerequisite of the operation. Release the grievance operationally. Claim the authority. Proceed. The second fatal mistake Murphy identified is the partial reversal, and it is equally mechanical in its effect on the operation's results, though its mechanism is different from the retained grievance. The partial reversal occurs when the practitioner correctly identifies a surface-level manifestation of the damage and performs the reversal operation on that surface manifestation with genuine competence and authority, but fails to trace the manifestation to its identity-level root structure and perform the reversal at that deeper level as well. The result is predictable and reproducible, and is one of the most common reasons practitioners conclude, incorrectly, that the law of reversal does not work. A temporary improvement in the specific area addressed by the surface-level reversal, followed by the return of the original pattern, which then seems more intractable than before, because the practitioner's confidence in the law has been eroded by the apparent failure. Murphy's explanation of this mechanism is precise. Every behavioral or circumstantial pattern produced by a subconscious blueprint has at least two levels of structure: the surface-level instruction governing the specific behavior or condition, and the identity-level instruction that generates and sustains the surface-level instruction. The surface-level instruction is the specific rule about how the domain in question operates for the practitioner. The identity-level instruction is the underlying statement about who the practitioner fundamentally is in relation to that domain. To use Murphy's own example from his teaching on financial limitation, the surface-level blueprint might be money arrives and is taken, or financial advancement is followed by financial loss. These are specific operative instructions about the behavior of money in the practitioner's experience. But below them, generating them and sustaining them, is an identity-level instruction of the form, "I am not the kind of person for whom financial abundance is permanent," or "prosperity at a certain level is not available to someone with my history and my fundamental worth." Reversing the surface-level instruction without reversing the identity-level one is, as Murphy described it, like cutting the visible portion of a weed while leaving the root system intact. The surface manifestation is temporarily removed. The root continues to generate replacement growth. Within a period whose length depends on the depth of the root structure, the pattern reconstitutes itself. The correction Murphy specified is the identification of both levels of the blueprint before performing the reversal. The practitioner who follows the surface-level pattern to its rule and then follows that rule to the identity-level instruction beneath it has identified the complete target of the reversal operation. The reversal declaration is then performed on both levels in sequence. First the surface-level instruction, then the identity-level one, each withdrawn and replaced according to the two-part protocol. The reversal that reaches the identity level does not merely correct the specific behavioral or circumstantial manifestation. It removes the generative instruction that was producing the surface-level blueprint and replacing it whenever the surface-level reversal disturbed it. When the identity-level reversal is performed, the subsequent forward-directed installation into that territory is building on genuinely cleared ground, and the permanent stability of the result becomes available in a way that was structurally impossible while the identity-level root remained in place. Murphy also identified a third error that is less commonly discussed, but that he regarded as a consistent contributor to incomplete reversals: the reversal performed at insufficient emotional authority. Recall that the original blueprint was installed with sufficient emotional charge to carry it past the critical faculty of the conscious mind and into the deep mind's recording territory. The reversal operation requires a comparable level of emotional authority in its delivery, not emotional distress. Not the re-engagement with the pain of the original damage, but the specific emotional authority of the practitioner, speaking from the reversal posture with the full conviction of someone who knows the law, understands the mechanism, and is exercising sovereign authority over their own system with complete certainty of the outcome. Murphy distinguished this carefully from enthusiasm or intensity of feeling. The authority required is not louder or more emotionally elevated than ordinary speech. It is denser, more certain, more grounded, more completely without the qualification of doubt that dilutes the signal before it reaches the deep mind. The practitioner who speaks the reversal declaration with genuine conviction from the reversal posture is delivering the required emotional authority. The practitioner who speaks it as a formula, hoping it produces the desired effect, is delivering the authority of hope, which is not the authority the law requires. These three error patterns, the retained grievance, the partial reversal, and the insufficient authority, collectively account for the majority of the cases Murphy encountered in which practitioners reported applying the reversal protocol without achieving the stable reversal the law guarantees. In every case, the law had not failed. The application had been incomplete in one of these specific ways. The law's guarantee is conditional on correct application, as every law's guarantee is. Gravity does not fail to operate on an object that is being artificially supported. The support must be removed for the law to demonstrate its full operation. The retained grievance is a form of artificial support for the old blueprint, maintaining it against the practitioner's own authority by keeping a portion of that authority invested in the grievance. The partial reversal removes part of the support while leaving the root structure intact. The insufficient authority delivers the reversal command without the signal strength the deep mind requires to register it as a governing instruction rather than as an aspirational statement. Remove all three errors from your application. The law operates with mathematical certainty. When the application is precise, precision is now available to you. Apply it. Joseph Murphy spent decades working with individuals whose subconscious minds carried damage of the kind being addressed in this teaching. Damage installed in childhood, in early intimate relationships, in contexts of powerlessness and dependence that gave external conditions access to the deep mind that the individual had no capacity to prevent. And across those decades, across thousands of individual cases, across every variation of damage and every variation of the life it had produced, Murphy arrived at a set of operative conclusions that he stated as direct instruction to his students, not as philosophical positions to be considered, but as the governing principles of their practice going forward. These are the master's tips. They are not encouragement. They are the distillation of observed mechanical law. The first is the principle of unconditional reversibility. Murphy stated this principle with an absolute clarity that deserves to be received with absolute seriousness. Nothing installed in your subconscious mind has permanent authority over your experience. The word nothing is not rhetorical. It is operative. There is no category of damage that exists in the deep mind that falls outside the reach of the law of reversal. Not the damage installed in the first years of life, before language had formed and the blueprint was encoded at the pre-verbal level of pure emotional imprint. Not the damage installed by someone whose authority over the early environment was total, not the damage reinforced across decades of confirming experience until it feels indistinguishable from the fundamental nature of reality. Not the damage whose effects have become so structurally integrated into the practitioner's behavioral patterns, relational history, and physical health that removing it seems to require the reorganization of an entire life. None of these conditions exempts the blueprint from the operation of the law. The law is unconditional. The reversibility is complete. Murphy's reasoning for this principle is the same reasoning that grounds the law of reversal itself. The subconscious mind is a recording medium that operates according to a law, and the law is indifferent to the content it governs. The law that installed the blueprint, the law of emotionally charged imprinting into a receptive deep mind, does not confer permanent status on any specific content it has installed. It is a law of mechanism, not a law of outcome. The mechanism operates in both directions with equal indifference to which direction it is currently moving. The blueprint installed at age 4 by an emotionally devastating event is no more permanently fixed in the deep mind than a blueprint installed at age 40. The mechanism of its installation was the law. The mechanism of its reversal is the same law. The law does not protect its own previous outputs. It executes the most authoritatively delivered instruction, always, without exception. The reversal is always available. The operation is always possible. The result is always guaranteed by the law that governs the mechanism. The second master principle is what Murphy described as the subconscious's complete indifference to the content it executes. This is a principle that, when genuinely understood, removes a specific form of discouragement that afflicts many long-term practitioners. The sense that their subconscious has some kind of attachment to the damage, some preference for the limiting blueprint, some resistance to the new instruction that must be overcome through sustained effort over time. Murphy was explicit and direct. The subconscious has no allegiance to the damage. It never had allegiance to it. It received the damaging instruction through the mechanism of the law, and it has been executing it with faithfulness ever since. Not because it prefers the damage, not because it is protecting the damage, not because it has any relationship with the content of the blueprint beyond the mechanical faithfulness of execution. The subconscious executes what it holds. It holds what was most recently and most authoritatively installed. It does not hold the damage because the damage is true, or because the damage is important, or because the damage has earned a permanent position through the length of its tenure. It holds the damage because the reversal has not yet been performed. Perform the reversal. The subconscious releases the damage with the same indifference with which it received it. The third master principle addresses the timeline of the reversal's manifestation in the practitioner's external life. Murphy was honest about this in a way that is genuinely useful for practitioners who have been disappointed by the gap between an interior shift and its external expression. The reversal of the blueprint in the deep mind is immediate. The moment the reversal command is delivered with the required authority, the subconscious has received a new governing instruction. The execution of that new governing instruction at the level of the practitioner's external circumstances, physical health, relational patterns, and financial conditions, the reorganization of the outward expression of the deep mind around the new blueprint specifications. This is a process that unfolds across time. Murphy did not specify a timeline because the timeline depends on the depth of the original blueprint, the degree to which the external environment has been organized around its specifications, and the behavioral and circumstantial adjustments required to bring the external life into alignment with the new governing instruction. What Murphy stated with certainty is this: the reorganization begins immediately after the reversal and proceeds consistently and without reversal, provided the practitioner does not subsequently re-endorse the old blueprint through habitual thought patterns, behavioral repetitions of the old pattern, or the retained grievance. The reversal is done. The manifestation follows. The practitioner's task after the reversal is not to accelerate the manifestation, but to not interfere with it. The fourth master principle is Murphy's instruction on the relationship between the reversal and the forward-directed practice that follows it. The reversal creates cleared territory in the subconscious, territory that was previously occupied by the limiting blueprint, and that is now available for the installation of new governing instructions through the full toolkit of forward-directed practice. Murphy's instruction was to use both operations together in their proper sequence: reversal first, forward installation second, in the cleared territory the reversal has prepared. The practitioner who performs the reversal and then continues forward-directed practice in the same domain is not duplicating effort. They are completing the operation. The reversal has removed the structural ceiling, and the forward-directed installation is now building in a space that was previously blocked by that ceiling. The results of the forward-directed work that follows a successful reversal are qualitatively different from the results of the same forward-directed work performed in the presence of the undisturbed blueprint. They build without the ceiling. They compound without the periodic reconstitution of the old pattern. They produce the kind of sustained, progressively deepening results that practitioners of forward-directed technique have always believed were possible and have been frustrated in achieving, because the cleared ground that makes those results sustainable was not yet available. It is available now. Murphy closed this teaching with the instruction that was, in many ways, its summary: apply the law. The subconscious has no special relationship with any of the content it currently holds. The blueprint that has been governing your experience in the most painful areas of your life for the longest period of time is an instruction in a system you now know how to govern. You have the identification method. You have the reversal protocol. You have the understanding of the conditions that must be present and the errors that must be avoided. You have the knowledge of the behavioral confirmation that completes the operation at the level of your life in the world. The law is present. The mechanism is ready. The deep mind is waiting for the most authoritatively issued governing instruction in each territory it administers. The damage that was done to you through this mechanism can be undone through this mechanism, with your authority, in your time, at your direction, with the mathematical certainty of a result that is guaranteed not by hope, not by faith in the hopeful sense, but by the operation of a law that has governed the subconscious mind since before the first human being had words to describe it. Apply the law. The execution begins immediately. The precision of Joseph Murphy's teaching on the subconscious as a reversible recording system was documented by Murphy from the perspective of a practitioner working with the laws of mind, from the interior of the human experience of psychological change. But the territory Murphy was describing with such mechanical accuracy has since been mapped by a different discipline from the outside, the discipline of neuroscience. And the map produced by that external investigation corresponds to Murphy's internal description with a fidelity that constitutes one of the most significant validations of the New Thought tradition's core claims about the nature of the deep mind. What Murphy called the subconscious blueprint, neuroscience calls the neural pathway. What Murphy described as its installation, neuroscience describes as long-term potentiation, the experience-dependent strengthening of synaptic connections. And what Murphy described as the reversal, neuroscience has documented as the equally lawful, equally reproducible, equally mechanically certain process of synaptic weakening and neural pathway dissolution through the specific conditions of counteractivation and non-reinforcement. Long-term potentiation is the neurological mechanism by which experience becomes structure. When a specific pattern of neural firing occurs repeatedly, when the same sequence of neurons activates in response to the same type of stimulus across many iterations, the synaptic connections between those neurons are physically strengthened. The connection between adjacent neurons becomes more efficient, more automatic, more structurally embedded in the physical architecture of the brain. The pathway, which at first required a certain threshold of stimulation to activate, progressively requires less and less, until eventually it activates automatically, below the level of conscious awareness, in response to stimuli that would not have triggered it before the pathway's structural development. This is the neurological mechanism of the installed blueprint, the subconscious pattern that operates automatically, that activates reliably in the presence of specific triggering conditions, that governs behavior below the conscious threshold. This is the neural pathway that has been structurally reinforced through repeated activation across years or decades until its firing is as automatic as a reflex. This is not metaphor. This is documented biology. The critical question for the law of reversal is whether this biological embedding is permanent, whether the structurally reinforced neural pathway has achieved a degree of physical integration that makes it effectively irreversible. And neuroscience provides a clear answer that matches Murphy's psychological teaching exactly. No. The neural pathway is subject to the same reversible plasticity as every other structure in the living brain. Long-term depression, the specific neurological term for the experimentally verified weakening of synaptic connections, is the brain's mechanism for reducing and eventually dissolving neural pathways that are consistently not activated or that receive specific counterstimulation. Synaptic pruning is the physical removal of neural architecture that is no longer being used or that is being actively counteractivated. These are not theoretical possibilities or hoped-for mechanisms. They are experimentally documented, reproducible, mechanically certain processes that operate in the living brain across all ages in every domain of neural architecture, regardless of how long the pathway being dissolved has been active. The brain's reversibility is as fundamental as its plasticity. The parallel to Murphy's description of the reversal operation is not approximate, it is structural. Murphy described the reversal as a two-phase operation: the withdrawal of the existing blueprint's authority, the demagnetizing operation, followed by the installation of the new governing instruction, the fresh recording. Neuroscience documents the corresponding two-phase biological process, the deliberate non-reinforcement and counteractivation of the existing neural pathway, long-term depression and synaptic pruning, followed by the repeated activation of a new competing pathway through the deliberate engagement of new patterns of thought, belief, and behavior, new long-term potentiation along the competing circuit. The two descriptions are describing the same process at different levels of analysis. One at the level of the operative psychological law, one at the level of the biological mechanism through which that law's effects are physically instantiated in the neural architecture of the brain. They are not in conflict. They are complementary mappings of the same territory. What this parallel means practically for the practitioner is significant. The neural pathway that carries the installed blueprint, however long it has been active, however structurally reinforced it has become through decades of repeated firing, however automatically it activates in the presence of its triggering conditions, is biologically subject to long-term depression and synaptic pruning through precisely the conditions the law of reversal creates. Deliberate non-reinforcement of the existing pattern and deliberate repeated activation of the competing pathway installed through the reversal protocol's replacement declaration. When the practitioner performs the reversal operation correctly and follows it with the behavioral confirmation and subsequent forward-directed installation in the cleared territory, they are not only performing a psychological operation on the operative instructions of the subconscious, they are initiating a specific biological process in the neural architecture of the brain. The process of long-term depression along the pathway that carries the old blueprint and long-term potentiation along the pathway carrying the new one. The mechanism Murphy described is the mechanism neuroscience documents. The reversal is lawful at both levels simultaneously. The neuroscience of neuroplasticity also speaks directly to one of the most discouraging experiences that practitioners report: the temporary return of the old pattern after what seemed like a successful reversal. Murphy addressed this in his teaching on the behavioral confirmation and the post-reversal period, and neuroscience provides the biological explanation for the phenomenon and the mechanically precise response to it. When a neural pathway that has been highly reinforced through years of activation is not given sufficient counteractivation to achieve full long-term depression, it retains a degree of synaptic efficiency that allows it to reactivate in the presence of strong enough triggering conditions. This is the biological basis for the partial reversal Murphy warned against, the reversal that addresses the surface-level pattern without reaching the identity-level root structure. The surface-level pathway is partially weakened. The deeper pathway that sustains it remains strongly reinforced and continues to generate the surface-level activation under sufficient stimulus. The pattern returns. The practitioner concludes the reversal failed. In biological terms, the counteractivation was insufficient to achieve long-term depression of the complete pathway system. The surface pathway was partially addressed while the deeper structural pathway remained intact. The response to this, from the perspective of both Murphy's teaching and neuroscience's documentation, is not more effort directed at the same level that produced partial results. It is deeper targeting. Identify the identity-level pathway, the root structure that sustains the surface-level behavioral pattern, and direct the counteractivation specifically at that level. In neurological terms, this means initiating long-term depression in the specific neural circuit that carries the identity-level belief rather than only in the circuits that carry its surface-level behavioral expressions. Murphy's instruction to perform the reversal at the identity-level blueprint is, in neurological terms, the instruction to target the root pathway rather than only its surface branches. The biology and the law point to the same correction. The deeper the targeting, the more complete the biological dissolution of the old pathway, and the more permanent the establishment of the new one in its place. Murphy's teaching on the subconscious as a reversible recording medium was formulated in a period when the neuroscience of synaptic plasticity was decades from its experimental documentation. And yet the description he offered of the mechanism, the faithful encoding of experience into operative structure, the continuous execution of that structure as governing behavior, the complete reversibility of the structure through the application of the same law in counter-direction, corresponds to the subsequently documented neurological reality with a precision that cannot be explained by coincidence. Murphy was not guessing. He was observing and documenting the operation of a law that was operating in the human mind regardless of whether its biological substrate had yet been mapped. The law preceded the science. The science confirmed the law. Together, they constitute a body of evidence for the reversibility of subconscious imprinting that is, by any standard of serious evaluation, irrefutable. There is one more aspect of the neuroscientific validation that is particularly relevant to practitioners in the age demographic of this audience. The practitioners who are concerned that the decades of reinforcement the old pathway has received make the reversal more difficult or less certain at this stage of their lives. Neuroscience has directly addressed the question of neuroplasticity across the adult lifespan, and the findings are unambiguous. The adult brain retains the capacity for long-term depression, synaptic pruning, and the establishment of new neural pathways through long-term potentiation across the entire course of adult life. Plasticity decreases with age in some domains, but the decrease is not elimination. And in the domain of belief and behavioral pattern modification, the adult brain's capacity for structural change remains sufficient for the complete reversal of established pathways, provided the conditions for long-term depression are correctly established. The length of the pathway's tenure is a measure of its reinforcement, not a measure of its immunity to the reversal law. The reinforcement can be undone. The pathway can be dissolved. The new pathway, once established with sufficient activation, becomes the dominant circuit. Age does not exempt the mechanism from the law. The law governs the mechanism at every stage of life without exception. What Murphy understood, and what neuroscience has since confirmed at the biological level, is that the human mind is not a museum of its past. It is a dynamic, continuously adaptive, fundamentally reversible system that responds to the governing instructions it receives according to a law that is as indifferent to the age of its inputs as it is to the content. The blueprint installed in childhood is a reinforced neural pathway. The reinforced neural pathway is subject to long-term depression through deliberate counteractivation. The deliberate counteractivation is the law of reversal applied in practice. The biological result, the dissolution of the old pathway and the establishment of the new one in its place, is the neurological expression of what Murphy described as the subconscious's faithful execution of the most recently and most authoritatively installed governing instruction. The science and the law are one description. The result they describe is the same result. And the result is yours, not as a possibility, not as a hope, but as the lawful consequence of applying a principle that has been operative in your mind since the day you were born, and that responds now, as it has always responded, to the authority of the operator who governs the system. Among the cases Joseph Murphy documented in his teaching and writing, there is one that he returned to on multiple occasions when he needed to demonstrate the law of reversal at its most mechanically exact. A case that illustrated the law's operation with a precision that, in Murphy's own description, resembled the output of a machine more than the complexity of a human life. The man he described was, by every available measure, not someone whose limitations could be explained by lack of intelligence or motivation. He was articulate, analytically sharp, and possessed of a genuine drive that had sustained him through considerable professional difficulty across the span of 2 decades. He was not someone who gave up easily, and this was what made his situation so revealing, because the pattern that Murphy documented in his case was not the pattern of someone who repeatedly failed due to effort or capability. It was the pattern of someone who advanced with genuine competence to a specific threshold of professional success, and then, at that threshold, did something specific, something observable, something that afterward he could not fully account for. That derailed the advancement with a timing and a precision that defied the statistical likelihood of coincidence. Murphy described first encountering this man as carrying the particular desolation of someone who had watched the same mechanism operate in his life across enough iterations that he had begun to doubt not just his ability, but his right to succeed. The man had not merely experienced setbacks. He had experienced a pattern so consistent that it had the quality, as Murphy wrote, of a mechanism rather than a series of misfortunes. In every role, in every organization, across a professional career spanning nearly 20 years, the same sequence unfolded. Advancement to a specific level of visibility and authority, followed by a specific self-generated action that undid the advancement with the precision of something that had been scheduled. He did not understand what produced the action. He often did not understand the action itself until after it had occurred and its effects were already in motion. This was the quality that Murphy found most diagnostically significant: the automaticity of the sabotage, the sense that it came from a level below his conscious intentions, a level he had no access to and no authority over, a level that appeared to be operating according to its own completely separate set of governing instructions. Murphy identified the blueprint within 3 clinical sessions, not through extended therapeutic excavation of the man's history, but through the specific diagnostic method that the law of reversals framework supports: the deductive tracing of the observable pattern to its operative instruction, and then the tracing of the operative instruction to its identity-level root. The surface-level blueprint was clear from the pattern. Success above a certain level is consistently self-sabotaged. The root-level blueprint, which Murphy identified through careful inquiry not into the history of the sabotage but into the man's earliest formed beliefs about his relationship to success at the level of identity, was traceable to a single installation event that Murphy dated with the man to the age of 11. The event was a moment of deliberate cruelty on the part of the man's father, a man who, from his son's account, had carried his own deep damage around his relationship with success and had expressed it in that specific moment in the form of a direct address to his son's future. The words, as the man reported them to Murphy, were simple and specific. Success was not for people like them. The sentence was delivered with sufficient conviction, in a moment of sufficient parental authority, to a boy who had no framework within which to evaluate it as one man's damage rather than a statement of operative truth about his own future. The subconscious received it as instruction. It had been executing it faithfully for 27 years. What Murphy did next, and this is the part of the account that he specifically used to illustrate the distinctive character of the reversal operation, was not what the man expected. He had anticipated, based on his previous therapeutic experience, a process of exploration, emotional reprocessing, and gradual healing of the relationship with the father's wounding. What Murphy offered instead was the reversal protocol, precise, administrative, directed not at the man's emotional relationship with the original event, but at the blueprint the event had installed and at the authority that blueprint had been exercising over the man's subconscious for the intervening 27 years. Murphy described the session in which the reversal was performed as administrative in quality, methodical, technical, and entirely unlike the emotionally intense experiences the man had expected from work that addressed something of such age and such consequence. The blueprint was identified with precision. The grievance against the father was released, not as a therapeutic achievement, but as the operational reclamation of the man's sovereign authority over his own deep mind. The reversal declaration was issued. The withdrawal of the father's installed instructions authority followed immediately by the replacement installation of its precise opposite as the new governing rule of the man's subconscious in the domain of professional success. The behavioral confirmation action was taken within 24 hours. Murphy documented the subsequent 8 months in terms consistent with the law's operation rather than in terms of dramatic personal transformation. The man did not report a profound emotional shift in the period following the reversal. He reported something quieter and, in the context of his history, more significant: the absence of the mechanism. The situation that would previously have triggered the self-sabotage presented itself approximately 6 weeks after the reversal session. The man described standing in the moment that had always previously produced the automatic self-undermining action and finding that no such action presented itself. The mechanism was simply not operative. He did not experience a struggle against an impulse he successfully suppressed. He experienced the absence of the impulse itself, the presence of a freedom to act in alignment with his own best judgment that had not been available to him in comparable situations in the preceding 27 years. He acted well. The advancement proceeded. Within 8 months, he had achieved the professional position that had been the consistent target and the consistent casualty of the self-sabotage mechanism for 2 full decades. He wrote to Murphy with an observation that Murphy considered among the most precise confirmations of the law's operation he had ever received from a student. The man wrote that the most striking aspect of the change was not the professional outcome, significant as it was, but the internal absence. The mechanism that had operated with the precision of machinery for 27 years was simply not there, not suppressed, not managed, not held in check by vigilance or technique. Gone. The territory from which it had operated was present. His awareness of that territory was present. What was absent was the governing instruction the territory had held since age 11. The reversal had reached the root. The root, deprived of the identity-level blueprint that had been generating the surface-level sabotage pattern, had ceased to generate it. The new blueprint, installed in the cleared territory, was now the governing instruction. And the subconscious, indifferent as always to the content of what it executes, was executing the new instruction with exactly the same faithfulness it had brought to the execution of the old one for nearly 3 decades. Murphy used this account not as an inspirational story. He was characteristically resistant to the inspirational framing of case evidence, but as a demonstration of the law's mechanical precision, the specificity of the pattern, the duration of its operation, the clarity of its biological and circumstantial manifestation, and the completeness of its disappearance following a single, precisely applied reversal operation. These qualities together constitute not an anecdote about a man's improved life, but a documented demonstration of a law. The law that installed the blueprint is the same law that reversed it. The faithfulness of execution that the subconscious applied to the limiting instruction for 27 years is the faithfulness of execution it now applies to the liberating one. The instrument does not distinguish, the instrument executes. And the instrument that has been executing the blueprint for your limitation with mechanical precision is the same instrument that will execute the blueprint for your fullest expression with the same mechanical precision, effective from the moment the reversal command is delivered with sufficient authority to be received as the new governing instruction of the deep mind. Murphy's law of reversal is not an addendum to the practitioner's understanding of mental law. It is its completion. The forward-directed operations, affirmation, visualization, prayer treatment, the spoken word, sleep programming, are real, effective, and necessary. They constitute the building operations of mental science, the tools through which the practitioner installs the governing instructions of the life they are constructing in the territories of the deep mind that are available to receive them. Murphy never disputed their efficacy. He practiced them himself throughout his career and taught them with the same precision he brought to every aspect of his work. But he also observed across decades of work with practitioners at every level of development a specific and consistent limitation in the results of forward-directed practice alone. A limitation that appeared not in the practitioner's capacity to build new mental architecture, but in the quality of the ground on which they were building. The forward-directed operations were producing real improvements in the space above the undisturbed damage. The undisturbed damage continued to operate at its own level, below the floor of every new construction, generating the persistent patterns that the new construction above it could approach but could not permanently remove. The law of reversal completes the system by providing the tool for the territory that the forward-directed operations cannot address. The existing damage at its own level, in its own structure, governable by the same law that installed it. The logical consequence of this completion is a shift in the practitioner's relationship to their entire history of spiritual practice, a reinterpretation of every instance in which the forward-directed work produced results that fell short of the permanent structural change the practitioner was applying the law to achieve. It was not failure, it was incompleteness. The practitioner was using the correct system with an incomplete toolkit, a toolkit that contained the building operations, but not the preparatory clearing operation that makes the building operations fully effective in the specific territories where the damage was installed. Every visualization that produced temporary improvement in a domain governed by an undisturbed blueprint was demonstrating the forward-directed operation's genuine power within the constraints imposed by the incomplete application of the system. The law of reversal does not invalidate that work. It completes it by removing the constraint and making available the full depth of the territory in which the forward-directed operations can now build permanently, without sealing, without the periodic reconstitution of the limiting pattern, and without the particular exhaustion of someone who has been working hard in a room whose walls keep moving back to where they were. The deeper implication, the one Murphy drew in his most advanced teaching on this subject, is about the nature of what was done to the practitioner through the installation of the damage and what the law of reversal actually restores. The damage was not merely a set of limiting beliefs. The damage was an occupation of the practitioner's sovereign territory, a set of governing instructions installed in the deep mind without the practitioner's consent, by conditions that had access to the recording system before the practitioner had the understanding or the capacity to govern it themselves. The law of reversal does not merely remove those instructions. It restores to the practitioner the complete, unencumbered sovereignty over their own subconscious that was theirs by nature and that the circumstances of early damage had partially occupied on behalf of another's authority. The reversal is not just the correction of limiting beliefs. It is the restoration of the full operating authority of the individual over the system that produces their entire experience of life. Nothing less than that is what the law provides when it is applied completely and correctly. This is why Murphy described the law of reversal as the most consequential discovery of his teaching career. Not because it is the most dramatic technique in his system, but because it is the one that restores to the practitioner the complete relationship to their own deep mind that makes the rest of the system fully operative. The practitioner, in full possession of the law of reversal, is no longer building in a partially occupied territory. They are building in cleared ground from the position of complete sovereignty over the entire system, with the forward-directed operations performing at their full capacity in the absence of the structural interference that undisturbed damage was imposing. The result is not merely better outcomes in the specific areas reversed. The result is the practitioner operating at their full capacity, the capacity that was theirs by nature and by law, temporarily obscured by damage they did not install, now restored by a reversal they have performed with the authority that was always theirs to exercise. The law is symmetrical, the mechanism is available, the operation has been given to you in complete form. The subconscious holds no allegiance to any blueprint it has been executing. It holds only faithfulness to the most authoritatively installed governing instruction. The damage that was installed through the law can be undone through the law. What was done to you can be undone by you, precisely, mechanically, completely, with the certainty of a result that the law guarantees to every practitioner who applies it with sufficient identification, sufficient authority, and sufficient completeness to reach the root. This is not a promise directed at your hope. It is a statement of law directed at your understanding. The understanding is now complete. You have been living with instructions you did not write. This is the starting point of everything. The one fact about your experience that, once stated plainly, explains the gap between what you know and what you have been living, between the understanding you have developed with such discipline and the areas of your experience that have continued to operate from a pattern that your understanding alone could not reach. You have been executing a blueprint you did not design in the most important areas of your life. Your relationship with your own worth, your baseline relationship with abundance, your capacity to inhabit intimacy without it reorganizing into something smaller and more familiar. Your fundamental sense of whether you are safe and free and authorized to occupy the fullness of your own life. You have been producing conditions you did not choose with a faithfulness that is actually a testament to the extraordinary precision of the instrument you carry, an instrument that has been pointed, without your knowledge or consent, at the specifications of someone else's installation. That was not your failure. Murphy was unambiguous about this, and it is important that it be stated with equal unambiguity now. The installation of the damage was not your failure. It was the condition of not yet knowing the law, the condition of a developing mind in an environment that had access to the recording system before the recording system had a governing operator. You did not fail to protect your deep mind from the damage. You had not yet been given the understanding of the deep mind that would have made protection possible. The installation was a mechanical event that occurred in conditions of mechanical inevitability. The subconscious received what was delivered to it with sufficient authority. It did not receive it because you were insufficient. It received it because the law operates without exception. And in the conditions of your early life, the law was being operated on you by the conditions you inhabited rather than by your own conscious authority. That was the condition of not yet knowing. You know now, and the law states, without qualification, without exception, without any condition that would place your particular damage outside its reach, that what was installed through this mechanism can be reversed through this mechanism, with your authority, in your time, at your direction. The subconscious that received the damaging instruction with complete faithfulness will receive the reversing instruction with exactly the same faithfulness. The deep mind has no loyalty to the damage. It never had loyalty to it. It was executing an instruction. The instruction was installed by conditions you could not control at a time when you had no authority over the gateway to your own deep mind. You have that authority now. You have it completely. You have it over every blueprint currently executing in your system, regardless of its age, regardless of the authority of the one who originally installed it, regardless of how many years of confirming evidence have accumulated around its specifications. The authority of the original installer ended the moment the installation was complete. What has sustained the blueprint since then is not their authority. It is the absence of your counter-instruction. Issue the counter-instruction. The absence is filled. The new blueprint governs the conditions you have been living as if they were the natural shape of reality, the ceiling that reconstitutes itself above every forward-directed achievement, the pattern that returns regardless of circumstance, the fundamental sense that certain things are simply not available to someone with your particular history in your particular life. These conditions are the output of an instruction. They are not the output of truth. They are not the output of what you deserve or who you fundamentally are or what the universe has assigned you. They are the output of a blueprint that has been executing in a system that executes faithfully whatever it holds. The blueprint can be reversed. The output reverses with it. Not eventually, not if sufficient effort is sustained long enough. The reversal of the blueprint is the reversal of the output, because the blueprint is the cause and the output is its effect. And the law of cause and effect does not operate with a lag between the cause and its consequence. When the cause changes, the effect changes. The blueprint is the cause. Reverse it. The effect changes accordingly. Murphy spent his life bringing this precision to people who had been living with damage they believed was the definition of their relationship to life, rather than a set of instructions in a reversible system. He did this not from compassion in the sentimental sense, but from the recognition that the law was available and that its non-application was producing unnecessary limitation in lives that were capable of something categorically different. Every person he worked with who had been carrying damage they could not repair through forward-directed practice alone was carrying it not because the damage was permanent, but because the specific operation required to address it had not yet been applied. The law of reversal was that operation. He gave it to everyone he taught. He documented it with the precision of someone who understood that precision was the form of respect. That to give a person a vague gesture toward the possibility of healing is a far lesser gift than to give them the exact mechanism by which the healing is accomplished. You have been given the exact mechanism. The reversal is not a promise extended to you on the basis of your willingness to believe in it. It is a law that applies to you on the basis of the fact that you inhabit a subconscious mind that operates according to that law. Your belief in the reversal is not its precondition. Your correct application of the reversal protocol is its precondition. You have the protocol. You have the understanding of the conditions required for its operation. You have the identification of the errors that block its completion. You have the neurological confirmation that the biology of the brain supports and instantiates the operation Murphy described. What remains is the application, and the application is available to you today in the specific area of your experience where the persistent pattern has operated with the consistency of something being executed. The area you already know, the pattern you have already recognized across every domain it has inhabited in your life. That area, that pattern, that blueprint. Today, the world you inhabit after the reversal is not a different world. It is the same world, operating according to the same laws, containing the same circumstances and the same relationships and the same physical conditions. What has changed is the blueprint the deep mind is executing within that world. And because the deep mind's blueprint governs not only what the practitioner believes, but what the practitioner does, how the practitioner engages with opportunity, how the practitioner responds to challenge, what the practitioner reaches for and accepts and sustains and builds. The changed blueprint produces over time a changed experience of the same world that is so systematically different in the specific domains reversed that it constitutes, practically speaking, a different life, not a different world. The same world inhabited by a practitioner who is no longer governed in their most fundamental domains by someone else's installation. That is the life the law of reversal makes available, not as aspiration, as the lawful consequence of applying the principle that has been available to you from the moment you understood it. You understand it now. The consequence is yours. Here's the challenge Murphy would have given you in the precise terms he would have used without the softening of language that dilutes instruction into suggestion. Identify one persistent pattern in your experience, one condition that has reconstituted itself across different circumstances, different relationships, and different phases of your life with the consistency of something being executed rather than something happening. One pattern, the one you have already recognized in the course of this teaching, because it was already present in your awareness before this video began, and what this video has given you is not the discovery of the pattern, but the identification of its nature as a blueprint. Take that pattern, trace it to its operative instruction, the present tense, specific, governing rule the subconscious has been executing as if it were a law of nature rather than an instruction in a reversible system. Write the instruction down exactly as the subconscious has been operating it. Do not soften the language. Do not make it more complex or more nuanced than it actually is. State the operating instruction plainly as the subconscious has been executing it. This is the target of the reversal. Then perform the reversal operation in writing, as Murphy specified, in the precise two-part sequence the protocol requires. Write the withdrawal first. The formal, present tense removal of the blueprint's governing authority over your subconscious. The explicit revocation of every endorsement that blueprint has received from your conscious acceptance of it, retroactively through every moment of its operation, effective from this moment forward. Then, without pause, write the replacement installation, the precise opposite of the withdrawn blueprint, stated in present tense as the established governing rule your deep mind is now executing in the domain just cleared. Not the rule you intend to install, the rule that is installed, because you have issued the reversal command with the authority the law requires, and the law has received it and executed it. Write it as established fact, because it is established fact, established by the same law that established the original blueprint, now operating in the direction you have authorized. With the same mechanical faithfulness it has always brought to the execution of whatever it most authoritatively holds. Then speak both parts aloud once. From the reversal posture, the calm, present tense authority of the system operator, not the emotional engagement of the wounded person. No drama, no intensity of feeling. The settled authority of someone who understands the mechanism has issued the correct command and is noting the execution with the same quality of administrative certainty with which Murphy's student described the session in which his 27-year pattern was removed. Speak it once from that posture. Let the quality of the declaration be authority rather than desire, certainty rather than hope. the statement of an operator who governs the system rather than the prayer of a supplicant who is hoping the system will comply. The system complies with authority. Issue it with authority. The execution has begun. Then take the behavioral confirmation action, the specific action that the old blueprint made consistently impossible or consistently self-sabotaged. Take it today, not as a test of whether the reversal worked, as the first natural act of someone whose subconscious is now governing from the new instruction. The action that the old blueprint would have prevented is the action that confirms the new blueprint's authority to the deep mind. Take it from the same posture you brought to the reversal declaration. The authority of the operator whose instruction is now operative and whose behavior reflects that fact. This is not performance. This is the completion of the circuit. The reversal was the command. The behavioral confirmation is the first execution. Complete it today. Before you leave this space, there is one thing that will seal this understanding more permanently than any note you could take or any summary you could write. Think of one moment in your life, one specific moment, where the law of reversal was already working through you, for you, or against you. A moment in which the subconscious's faithful execution of a blueprint was undeniably visible. In the timing of a self-sabotage, in the return of a pattern you thought you had escaped, in the rare and precious experience of a reversal that occurred without your conscious understanding of the mechanism, and that changed an area of your life permanently in the direction of what you actually wanted. Write that moment in the comments below. Not the new instruction you are installing, write that too, in present tense, as the operating reality of your subconscious in the domain you have reversed. But first, write the specific moment of recognition, because the mind that can identify the law in its own past has just acquired the capacity to operate the law in its own future. That recognition is not the beginning of hope. It is the beginning of mastery. Murphy called it the moment the practitioner stops being a student of the law and becomes an operator of it. That moment is now available to you. Write what you recognize. The circuit closes when you do.